Abusia the NPP Caucus and expose NDC amonyo Kronoo ɛwɔ the finance ministry na yewura Dr. Gideon Boako tanan of Mrashibedwani and also former spokesperson for vice president Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and the inchemu we eba saying say on tiasie die a kwan finance minister handle operation ɛwɔ treasury bill market saying say obasha na saying wanwa ye say treasury bill rate etimi ɛwɔ from ɛsen inflation say o dwedini and as investors dini sika beto ho na at the end of the day the o nya no ɛwɔ so no esuase inflation na say bibi tochew ɛwom a obie this revelation abusua o chemu say wonim say finance minister na control the price and quantity treasury bill anase saying entiasie bie ni ho a ɛwɔ saa asemunim na gibre na memfa Dr. Gideon Boako.
The minister talked about the treasury bill market and talked about the decline in the rates. And this is what he said. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that our government's proactive fiscal management has yielded a significant reduction in T-bill rates. This achievement is testament to the positive shift in investor sentiment regarding our country's economic outlook. Now, if there's a reduction in T-bill rates, what is the common expectation of Ghanaians? The common expectation of Ghanaians is that if indeed it is supported by the economic fundamentals, it must translate in a lower cost of credit. Other than that, it becomes sticky downward. But let's ask the minister. T-bill rates have reduced to say 19.0%. What has happened to cost of credit at the commercial level? Loans we are talking about. Now, despite the minister talking about this, there are interesting developments happening on the T-bill market. Anytime T-bill rates go down, all other things being equal, it must be commendable. However, there are questions to be asked as to whether or not these rates are artificially managed by the minister and whether or not they are sustainable. And we have to ask the question whether the minister is controlling both price and quantity on the T-bill market. And I ask these questions for two reasons. First, the decline in the treasury bill rate is not consistent with the fundamentals of the economy. We have inflation at 23.5%. We have monetary policy rate at 27%. How then can you have a treasury bill rate lower than the inflation? If it happens like that, it means that treasurers and commercial banks who are participating in the T-bill market are participating at a real return in the negative. Because when you go for T-bill and you are earning less than inflation, it means that there's a component that is eaten away by the inflation. So it doesn't make sense. No treasurer, all other things being equal, will go and buy T-bills, gives him a lower return, and then inflation consumes the whole thing. Negative real return. Why is it that the monetary policy rate is still at 27%? And why is it that inflation is above the treasury bill rate? And like I've said, a good treasurer will not do this. And if any good treasurer will not do this, don't we suspect artificial hands to bring down the T-bill rates for propaganda purposes? If this is generated by economic fundamentals, then the monetary policy rate is out in line with the market. Ideally, the central bank should bring down the monetary policy rate to where inflation is. If not, then there's something fundamentally wrong with the drops. If this is sustained and inflation is continuously above the T-bill rate, any rational treasury management will find solace in currency trading other than T-bills to give a negative return. And this inflation process will dislodge. And a few days ago, you heard the governor of the Bank of Ghana cautioning the finance minister that the rate he's manipulating the TB rates to come down will affect the currency. And the governor is right, because if the banks after some time realize that the monetary policy rate is not coming down, inflation is not coming down, and they go for the TB rates and they will run at a loss, they will leave the T-bill market and go and buy currency, and that will put pressure on our cedi, and the cascading effect will be the transmission to inflation. The finance minister must understand this common economic principle, and I'm happy that the governor of the Bank of Ghana realizes this. Secondly, there appears to be one looks like the Bank of Ghana subordinating its monetary policy to fiscal policy, and that is dangerous. We all agree there's excess liquidity in the system. People are paid their coupons upon maturity from DDEP. People have cash in the system. When there's excess liquidity in the system, what happens? The Bank of Ghana, per the Bank of Ghana Act 2022, Act 612, and the Bank of Ghana Amendment Act 2016, Act 198, has the responsibility to ensure price stability. And the Bank of Ghana is the one that has the responsibility to mop up the excess liquidity from the system. How does the Bank of Ghana do this? The Bank of Ghana does this through the open market operations, the OMO. And when the Bank of Ghana goes to the market to issue the OMO is issued at monetary policy rate plus or minus 2%. So if monetary policy rate is 27%, let's assume the Bank of Ghana wants to do the lower end, minus 2%. That brings us to what? 25%. There is no treasurer or bank in the country who will go to the open market with Bank of Ghana offering 25%, a Ministry of Finance offering 19%, and decide to go for 19% and leave 25%. If we're a shareholder, will you agree to that? You won't agree. So the fact that the T-bill market that is offering lower rate is oversubscribed indicates that the Bank of Ghana is reneging on its responsibility to mop up the excess liquidity and subordinating that monetary policy arrangement to fiscal policy by the finance minister. And that is an arrangement this government has done, all because they want to tell the public that there's oversubscription and that there's confidence in the economy. No rational investor will do this. That is why we think that they have to really stop this and let the market take its own shape. Other than that, the consequences for the economy going forward will not be good for us. And so this is what has to be done. And if you look at the T-bill market, the minister says, oh, they oversubscribe and they are borrowing less. Let's ask the minister. Every time they go to the T-bill market, they accept offers more than their target. They accept offers more than their target. If you take every week, what target they went to the market, they accept more offers more than the target. That should tell you there's something fundamentally wrong. The minister says they want to open the bond market for the yield curve at the long end to have a lot of purchases. Everybody will move to the short end because they don't have confidence that going forward, the economy will assume the same trend as it is going. So they won't go to the long end. They will stay at the short end. And the minister is using the rates to entice them. Mind you, in Ghana, we practice the Dutch auction. You cannot control price and quantity on the market. The finance minister is artificially manipulating the system and controlling price and quantity. He determines how much price he wants to give, and he determines how much he wants to buy. And the Bank of Ghana is reneging on the monetary policy arrangement to go to the open market. And so when people go to the T-bill market, open market, Bank of Ghana is not there. Even if Bank of Ghana is there, it is accepting less. And they have the money. Investors are pushing them. Go and buy bills for us. So they all have to go to the T-bill. And that is what is forcing the rates now. It is not supported by the economic fundamentals. And we think this has to be dealt with.